Welcome to Don't Quote Me on That. One day we will have an intro, but today is not that day.
Hello, hello, hello. I'm Kalina.
And I'm Elanor.
And welcome back to Don't Quote Me on That, where we kind of talk about movies. This week, also, every time I do that intro by myself, I always have to restart the recording because for some reason when I'm by myself, I start with Don't Quote Me on That, and then I'm like, no, there's something else that's supposed to come before. So, anyway, last week I talked about myself, and I said, hello, maybe next week Elanor will be here. And lucky us, Elanor is here this week.
And even better, I have a voice again.
Yes. Oh, my dad was asking how you were feeling, and I was like, what do you mean? Because I had just gotten used to the new smoke a pack a day, Elanor. So, I was a little confused. I was like, she's good, I think. But this week we're doing something, I think we're kind of going back to our roots a little bit in the sense that one of the first episodes we did on the podcast was about 303. Actually, because 303, if you don't know, is one of the greatest.
Is the best band.
Yeah. And I can't believe I'm saying that about people from Colorado, but they're great. And so I think we talked about Want, which I think Want is a perfect album. No skips. That's like, I call it my plane album because I have it like actually downloaded on my phone to listen to. So when I'm having like my half asleep on the plane dream, that's Want is the background music to it. But this week we thought it would be fun. We had this idea to basically pick an artist we both know and make what we consider to be the perfect album for that artist. And then like kind of compare and talk about why. So we decided to start with 303. I'll be honest, it was very hard for me to sit down and like not just pick 7 songs off of Want and call it a day. But I didn't. I tried to diversify. But so we picked 303. The rules were 7 songs because as you all know, we think that an album should never be longer than 10 songs. And then also there's 2 of us. So we figured there'd be some crossover, but like if there's not, that's 14 songs. It's kind of a lot to get through. And then we could pick features, but only if the artist, so in this case 303, was the main artist and not the featured artist, if that makes sense. I think that was all the rules. We didn't have like time limits or anything.
No, we did not. Just song limit. Features, yeah. I think 303 doesn't have a whole ton of features anyway. But, and spoilers, one of their features is one of my favorite songs ever. Didn't make the cut, but another one did that I also really like.
I did this twice, and I had like a whole story the first time, and then I just wasn't feeling it when I listened through it in order, and I just wasn't feeling it as like an album, and so then I redid the whole thing. But the first time I did it, I didn't have any features, even though I think like they're at least 2 of their songs which have features, which is the one with Kesha and the one with Katy Perry. I think those are like probably their most well known songs.
Definitely the one with Katy Perry, which I'm so sorry. I don't like Katy Perry. I don't know why. I just decided I don't like her a while ago, like years ago.
No,
even though I kind of do.
Last month development.
No, just forever. I just haven't liked Katy Perry, even though Anyway, their song with Katy Perry is one of the best songs just ever. It's so good.
And the feature rule kind of bit me in the ass because they have 2 songs with Kesha, but one is Kesha's song and one is their song, and I like the Kesha song a lot better than the one that she's the feature on for. I mean, they're both good, but I just like hers better. But anyway, I will start. I have a lot of free time on my hands, unlike Elanor, so I have a whole shebang here. I've got a little paper to reveal to Elanor, so if you hear us cackling at each other, that is why. This is very exciting for us. We are grown adults. So I gave my album a name. I called it High and Mighty.
Oh.
I tried to like, one, I didn't want to have too many songs off of one album, because the first time I did this, I think like 4 out of my 7 songs were off of Want, and I was like, that's too many. So I was trying to look at like how they name their albums, and all their album names are like all caps for the most part, 1 or 2 words. So I went with High and Mighty. I thought that was fun. It's the greatest 303 album ever made, produced by Kalina. Thank you. So we're just going to get right into this. I'm going to go first, and then Eleanor's going to go, and we will chit-chat about why we picked the songs, yada, yada, yada. Hopefully we won't be here too long, but, famous last words and all that. So,
Yeah. Sure.
Are we ready for my first song, Eleanor?
Yes.
It's my album opener, okay? This is, and we all know how we feel about an album opener. Folding a notebook page is a lot harder to do when you're holding it up. So 2 seconds. Okay. It's called Beaumont.
Oh.
Yes, I picked this. 303 do a couple of songs that are I want to say quite compilations, but they take elements of the song off the album and kind of cut them all into one song and give you kind of like an interlude almost. So it's a little bit shorter. It's still like a song in its own right, but it's usually like mostly electronic, not as many lyrics. And so this was off of Streets of Gold, and this is kind of interlude-y. And they also do a lot of these songs where they do the 303 chant and kind of like get you hyped. So I thought this was a good album opener, especially for the type of music they make. They're very like electronic pop. I don't know. Electronic pop, would you say? Kind of heavy. I don't know. They rap. They do a lot of things. But yeah, they have got like the 303 chant going. So I thought this was like a good intro. It's not too long. It is, I will look up here, a minute long. So.
Oh.
Yeah. So like I thought that was a nice
long
little
starter.
Yeah, nice little bop into there. I thought it was a strong opener as the album as a whole. If I was like going for an opener solo, I would have picked like a boppier song, so to speak. But yeah, it's off of Streets of Gold, and it reminds me of the opening of, if you know this, their song also, Colorado Sunrise. Also similar vibe. So I liked it. There's not too much to say about it. There's not a lot of lyrics or anything. I just thought it was like a nice little taste of the music that like kind of would like wake you up, pick you up without being too strong. If that makes sense. Beaumont.
Thank you.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you had any thoughts.
No, I mean, it's hard to have thoughts on a 1 minute song with, honestly, 2 words. They say the 2 words a lot, but I think it's an interesting start to an album.
And I tried very
made
hard.
Extra interesting by the fact that that's how they open albums.
Yeah, that's part. I don't know where this is on Streets of Gold, because what I did is I like went through their entire discography and like picked out songs that I liked, and then kind of cut it down very slowly. And then once I had my final 7, I like listened to them in what order I thought would be, and like listened to them so I could put them in the order that I thought they flowed well into each other. And I knew I wanted either an interlude type song for the opening or for the end. Just because I think it fits their style, and like I listen to Want also a lot in the car, so I thought, I was like trying to think of like what would, if I was listening to this album straight through just driving or straight through doing whatever, what I thought would like give me a full experience, so to speak. So I ended up doing an interlude for the opening. So on to song number 2. This was Beaumont.
Sorry, this is how they open Streets of Gold.
Okay, that's what I thought, but I was so far in the like and unliking process. I was doing this in like my
There's a lot
songs
of
on Spotify. I didn't feel like going back. So the next song I picked because I thought it flowed the best, and we've talked about like album. You need a strong album opener, and then you don't want to like necessarily bring people. I don't like when the end of the album is sad just for no reason, or like quieter for no reason. So I was trying to give you like a range of journeys. So we went for next. Touching on My, song number 2. Also off of Streets of Gold. I thought this flowed the best.
This is a perfect song.
It's so good. And it flowed the best off of Beaumont just because it's on the same album, so they were like the same vibe, obviously. This I said would maybe be a single because it is, he does like self bleep himself, but I don't know. It's like also a little aggressive, so I wasn't too sure about putting it as a single. So this is like my maybe single. It also reminds me of Wildflower by 5 Seconds of Summer, which I bring up a lot, which I can't think of another example of a song, but like in that song they also
Ed Sheeran does it in a couple songs too. He does it in the one where he talks about up and coming, like they're in an elevator.
Does he self-censor? Because I always hear him not. I always hear it when he doesn't do it.
I think it's that song.
No, it's not that one. I know it's Don't. I love that song. It's Don't.
Yes. No, you're right.
Where
you're
they
so right.
They kind of leave it to the imagination, but like you know what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So same vibe because he says, "Girl, I gotta know." No, okay, I gotta run through the lyrics in my head here. I did not write those down.
Girl, I gotta know
how you dance. Like
how you
that.
look like that. Oh yeah, how you dance like that because you're putting on a show.
Can I take
if you wanna me? I won't say no.
That's it. Yes.
Touching on my.
While I'm touching on your, and you know we don't give a, cause I don't give a, and that's how the song sounds. So I thought that was fun.
Yep.
I was trying to look at this from a perspective of both like. Look at it from a perspective of both like fans of 303 and then like new fans maybe who are listening to this. So I thought this would like keep a new fan interested. If you're like, oh, this is fun. This is like not too out there. I don't think 303 ever get too out there, but they do sometimes write songs that are just absolutely ridiculous. Like they're capable of good lyrics, but also they're capable of foolishness. So this had like substance in the sense of like pop song on the radio substance. You know what I mean? Not too deep, but like there was something happening. Anyway, touching on my perfect song. No notes.
I also want to just point out that this was actually the first single off of Streets of Gold.
I am just a genius.
Right now you're just taking us through the Streets of Gold album.
All right, well, there's only been 2 songs. Okay, now the next song, I'm sure no one is surprised that I picked this song, okay? And we're going to talk about it because it's a perfect song. I went for Don't Trust Me. One.
Obviously.
For song number 3, which if you know a song by 303, it's probably this song. Also, to our loyal fans of Eleanor's grandma and my mother, please don't listen to the rest of this episode. There's a lot of curse words. And I don't think I can do this justice by self-censoring. So, in Don't Trust Me, which, for those of you who don't know, Kalina does not eat meat. And so this was her anthem, because in this song, he says, tell your boyfriend if he says he's got beef, that I'm a vegetarian, and I ain't fucking scared of him. Except I used to say, because I'm a pescatarian, because I am. And let me tell you, that I really needed some non-meat eater rep when I was younger, okay? People used to ask a lot of questions, and I didn't like it. Now Eleanor's laughing at me, but I can't see her, so it's fine. My first note
honestly, no, I agree. Children need to see themselves on screen.
Yes.
And Don't Trust Me did a beautiful job of that for you.
It says, first note, banger.
Banger.
This is off of the Want album. This definitely would be a single. And
100%.
Thought this was, because it's definitely a single, and also just because of the song it is, I put this third because, again, for new listeners, if I heard a song that opened, I mean, it's not the opening lines, but it's like the third or fourth line in the song, Tell Your Boyfriend, I would keep listening because that's great. It's just about, I know.
I mean, yeah, as a country, we went through not being able to stop listening to this song.
And I think, like, I know there's been some controversy over the bridge, the Helen Keller lyrics, but, like, to be honest with you, one, the song, I mean, like, for the time, is expected. And also, like, it's not supposed to be a serious song. It is very much like a club radio hit. We're not looking for Shakespeare. Yes, ma'am.
Also, it's not like they're saying they don't believe Helen Keller was real or they don't believe she was deaf and blind, because people believe that. They just think she could get down. And honestly, compliment.
For those of you who don't know, they say, shush girl, shut your lips, do the Helen Keller, and talk with your hips. And while I can see why that would be offensive, to be fair, Helen Keller couldn't communicate any other way, so they were just looking for alternatives, accessibility kings.
They were trying to help her. Yeah, they're allies.
Oh, God. I don't think we should say this. Also, one thing I like about 303 is they write and produce all of their stuff. Like, even if they have, like, they usually have, like, another writer come in, but the two of them, it's Nathaniel and Sean, I think are their names. They produce everything, and they're always on the writing. I'm just looking at the lyrics here. So it says that this was written by Benny Blanco, who's done, like, I know some songs with Halsey and stuff. He's also a pretty popular writer. And then the two guys from 303. So, anyway, bop of all bops, song number 3. I really didn't
No
think I need to
notes so
explain
far.
anything. What do I have next here? Oh, okay. Song number 4 it's got a feature on it. Eleanor's gonna like this one because we talked about it earlier. This is Starstruck, also off of one.
Oh, Katy Perry version.
Because I wanted to give some emotion. I wanted to be like 303. Yeah, they write fun bop club songs, but also we got some depth. Did I pick this song solely because of when they say LOVE is just another word?
LOVE is just another word. Yep.
Yeah, and the lines about it's embarrassing because I know this, but now that I'm trying to talk, I like can't think of. I'm like singing the song in my head. You know what I mean? To think of the lyrics. I should learn how to make love to something innocent without leaving my fingerprints. That's what he says. So like I was like, they got some that's some emotional depth, like they want to be lovers, but like they can't. They just live in the high life. Da 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 da. So this is kind of for me. I feel like the theme of my album is kind of like a no strings attached sort of relationship, because Touching on My is just like, I'm hot, you're hot, I'm leaving the city soon. You want to get it on?
Let's be hot together.
Yeah. And then don't trust me is he's like don't trust the hoe. So same vibe. So Starstruck, he's like, this could be more, but I'm not capable of that. Having a good time, right?
The best part of this song is when they say iced out, lit up, make the kids go, and then they do a little sound effect. Sometimes that part just gets stuck in my head. Also, I was too young to be listening to this song when it came out.
Oh my god. Listen, first of all, the song opens with nice legs, Daisy Dukes makes a man go. This is another one actually kind of like Wildflower, where they're like not self-censoring, but kind of like, giving you a little, ooh, what could we be saying? So they very much toe the line of like acceptable. I said this would also be a single for me. One, even if I didn't think it was that strong of a song, feature with Katy Perry on it, well, obviously has to be a single. I think this is some of Katy Perry's best work. I was going to say earlier when you were talking about how
it so is.
You don't like her. I don't think I'm a fan of her either way, but this and I think it's her first album, One of the Boys. Great album.
Mm-hmm.
No, like One of the Boys is one of the best songs ever. That's got I've Kissed a Girl on it.
Yeah, I realized that I have 3 songs from Katy Perry on my playlist, and I think they're all from...
Mm-hmm.
I think they might all... Or at least 2 of them are from One of the Boys. And, like, maybe I do like Katy Perry.
I Kissed a Girl, but the rock version, which is on that one. Or at least it's on the deluxe version. One of the Boys. What's else on there? I think You're So Gay is on there.
That's a great song.
The only other song I can think
Hot
of...
and Cold.
Oh, yeah, Hot and Cold's on there. I don't have that one on my playlist. The only other Katy Perry song I have on my playlist, but it's not on One of the Boys, is... I mean, you can't go wrong with this one. It's not Teenage Dream. Yes.
California Girls?
No.
Teenage Dream. Teenage Dream's a really good song.
Teenage Dream.
I have I Kissed a Girl, Hot and Cold, Waking Up in Vegas.
Oh, yeah, that's a great one. I think this was like...
I'm so sorry, this is not what we're talking about.
Fresh out of the church, Kate. Because wasn't her dad like a pastor or something? I think like One of the Boys is like fresh out of church, Katy Perry, okay? I mean, she got a song called I Kissed a Girl on there. So like, this is her like wilding out. The great album. Also, I like this because I don't like features where the artist just comes in for like one verse or like a couple lines and then disappears. Katy Perry is like throughout. She does have a verse, but like she's also doing backing vocals and stuff throughout the entire song. So I like how she's incorporated in there. Also, I realized while I was doing this, Starstruck does not have a C in it. They spell it with 2 Ks. Fun fact.
Which is, important to you and your family.
Mm-hmm. We're all Ks in my
So really,
except for my mom, but
they made that for you.
It was. Listen, I saw that and I was like, this is meant to be. And this is like, we're at the halfway point to the album, so I thought this was a good little point. So, song number 5 is "Go Fuck Yourself." Which is fun to say. My first note is, it's just fun. This is off of Omens, and I was trying to save their like electronic heavy sound for later in the album, because while I know people like electronic music, for me that wasn't like what I like about them. They're a lot more electronic than I usually listen to. But this has like an electronic kind of pre-chorus, so it's like a step away from what we listened to before, but not like too far out there that I think I'd like lose listeners if this was your first experience with 303. And I thought it was making light of like a sucky, relatable situation, because it's basically he's talking about how his girlfriend's cheating on her on him, so she can go fuck herself. So like I think it was something like anyone could listen to and be like, oh, there's elements in this that like I can relate to, even though it's a fun little bop of a song. One of my favorite lines is, he says, "Fix the lipstick on your mouth before you come into my house and go fuck yourself. If it helps to see it clearer, yeah, you can use a mirror to fuck yourself." So I just like the little imagery. And then also what's really funny is in this song, he sings and then he does like the impression of the girlfriend responding to him, and I just think that part's really funny. So I don't know, I just thought this was a fun little song, a good bop. It's fun to say go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I don't need to justify that. So, looking at the next one here. Okay, song number 6, everybody, is called Black Hole. This is also off of Omen, so I think this is why I put them back to back, because they flowed together. I heard Black Hole and I initially considered ending the album with it, but I didn't, because I just thought they flowed better this way. And I thought that this song and Go Fuck Yourself are more club songs than the rest of the ones we've heard on this album that I have put together so far. So I thought that like 6 and 7 kind of being the club songs of the album made sense. And one of the lines is, I think this is funny, I have 2 notes next to each other. The first one is, "Time to get stupid, it's time to get Kardashian," which is one of the lines in the song. The next note is, "They can write well even when goofing." That line was not an example of them writing well. I just think that line is funny.
But they can.
But they can write well. And he's like making like pop culture references and just being stupid. He says, "And you know that we're rocking the computer, Stephen Hawking. And if that bitch hangs up on me again, you know I'm walking like Christopher." So like things like that, the Kardashian line. But then also he's talking about like how basically this girl, or his girl he fell into a black hole. She was nothing but a black hole. And I really like.
Also, I think. Oh, I'm so sorry. While you were talking about it, I'm going to talk about this a little bit later. But I really like the way that they use the pop culture references. I just think that's one of the best things they do as a band.
They're very much. It's something that like take the Helen Keller thing. I think it's something very much that's like dated, but like still works even now. You know what I mean? And yeah, no, I agree. They're very much like of the time they're writing for. Without being like, when they release music now, they don't do it as often, but like I remember when like Kisseltoe came out and stuff, I was like, I'm always interested to see how they make music now, because I felt like their sound was very like, Want came out in 2008. I felt like their sound was like a very clear, this is a band making music in 2008, but they still make it work as they make music in later years.
They do. Also, Kisseltoe, such a great song. It was on my album for a very long time, and then I realized that like you've got to really work to get a Christmas song in a regular album.
I had like a whole narrative of like my initial album was like going through a relationship. So like I had a whole narrative going. So the Kisseltoe kind of worked, especially because one of the songs I had before mentioned something about kissing at Christmas. But it was just kind of weird to like transition out of a Christmas song into the back to the album.
Yeah.
And I think like they make these funny, corny lines, but like back to them being good writers. I know they released this recently. They sang "Tattooed Heart" by Ariana Grande, but that's because they wrote "Tattooed Heart" by Ariana Grande. And I think people would argue that like she writes, or she sings at least, well written, emotional songs. But they wrote that, so like that's what they're capable of. But they kind of, put it under a layer of club music. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay, my 7th and final song, which I think really just encapsulates the album. I picked this partly because I think we should I like the idea of a album, especially for this artist, ending on like a club song, or like a song that you could yell, not a club song, sorry, a song that like the audience could really get into at a show. So I went for BASMF, which stands out badass stupid motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm. Sure does. I I I love this song.
This is off of their album Night Sports, and this is what I was saying earlier. I don't like when an album ends on a quiet song just for the sake of like closing out the album quietly if that doesn't fit like what we've gone through. So initially, like I said, I was thinking about ending on an interlude or a quieter song, but I didn't think that fit this. And this is one of those songs that like I can see the crowd chanting along to. I would love to be in a crowd, yelling, "Look at these badass stupid motherfuckers." I did see 303 at Warped Tour though, and my favorite thing they didn't sing this song, but my favorite thing that I yelled in the crowd at that show is, "Excuse me, miss, but can I get you out your panties?" Because but like lines like that are just like even if like you weren't singing along to the rest of the song, everyone hopped in for that part, you know what I mean? And then also another thing they do a lot in their songs is, like, we talked about the 303 chant on Beaumont, but they also like shout out Boulder, Colorado, which is where they're from, which is why their band name is 303, because that's the area code for Boulder, Colorado. So in this one, they've got like a Boulder, Colorado shout out. And so I thought that was a nice little like you know, if you're a fan or you're from Colorado, that would be like a nice little moment to end the album out on, a song that like shouts out. I think he says because we're those Boulder motherfuckers. Oh, also the best line is, "If our shit's so bad, why is your sister trying to fuck us?"
That is the best line, perhaps, that they have ever written. Just it. If you didn't bring that up, I was about to bring that line up. And I hate that
Because like I always forget, and I'll be listening to this song, and I'm like, it's so fun to say. He says, "We are the same old Boulder motherfuckers. If our shit's so bad, why is your sister trying to fuck us? You'll be at the same job while the aliens abduct us, saying, look at these badass stupid motherfuckers." So again, like I picked this because, like I said, stupid. It's about aliens abducting them because they're so cool, and like how cool they are. And also, that line made me think of, you know how people online are like, if you're ever losing an argument, just tell someone, "You want to fuck me so bad, you look stupid." That's what I was like, 303 was on this years ago. And we've got more, sorry, let me put that down. Pop culture references. They talk about, I can get your blood boiling like Al Pacino, because I'll be the one rapping in your ear while you're waiting for your frappuccino. There was one line, I wasn't sure if it was questionable. They say I'm wrapped in a Navajo poncho, but I figured it was okay. I haven't seen any complaints about that. And yeah, that's my song to end out on. I know. I think
the Navajo poncho is good, because that is probably the tribe where he got the poncho from.
That's what I was saying. Like,
and he didn't use a slur, which is the bar.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, I could see people hearing that initially and like taking issue with it, but like considering where they are, and like it's not like they're making fun of people or anything. They're literally like, this is a poncho from the Navajos, so I have one. So, yeah, that's what I ended on. That is my album. It's called High and Mighty. I think I could, someone pay me to make greatest hits albums, because I think I'd do a great job.
Oh, I think you like capsule albums, you know, like a capsule wardrobe. I don't know if there's money in that, but I hope there is. I think your album is very good. I will say, and I'm gonna spoil this for you, we have no crossover.
Oh my god, seriously?
Seriously.
Because when I initially did this, I was like debating Don't Trust Me, because I was like, that's like the obvious choice. I'm sorry, I'm crinkling paper. I was like, that's like the obvious choice. Like, you've got to put, but like I can also see, I almost didn't put it on there because I'm like, this is like too obvious. I want to, like, I don't want to, like, I need a deep cut, you know? But I'm excited to see what you put then. There's no crossover. I definitely thought you were going to put Starstruck.
I almost, most of your songs, some of your songs were on my, like, very, very new backup. So, mine doesn't have a name.
That's okay. I had time on my hands.
Actually, no. So sorry. Mine does have a name. Okay, so you know how they have want and need, and they go with, like, mine is going to be called Wish, because this is the album that I wish they put out. Look at that. Right off the dome, baby.
I was trying so hard. I was like workshopping ideas, because they have want and need, and then they had omens. So I was trying to do something that like kind of connected to omens, since want and need I felt like went together. And then they have Streets of Gold and Night Sports. So I was trying to fit something with omens, but I couldn't think of like I didn't want to be like signs. You know what I mean? Like that was like a little So angel numbers, like that's my name of my album.
You picked a good name though, and your name fits in with the hype of the album.
Yeah, I was initially just gonna do Mighty and do the one song title, but I thought High and Mighty worked better because like I was going very much for like a hype album throughout the whole thing. Sorry, Elanor, Wish.
Yes.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, sure. So I mocked up a little text that I can reveal the ink for, so I get my own dramatic reveal. I'm so sorry. I'm talking into my phone like it's my phone that I'm recording off of. I kind of set out to take us on an emotional sort of journey. So I kind of start off strong, get a little sad, and then come back because I think a good album will take you on a journey such like that. But along the way, I realized that I like so many of these songs that I think I tried to keep us on a journey, but I also just picked my favorites.
That's how my journey ended up because I don't usually listen to what I would consider big hype club music, but like when 303 comes on, I'm like I need to be in a club. I need to be in my car with the windows down, speeding down the highway right now. So like that was the journey we went on.
So I decided to start my album with the ultimate banger, give us a good start. We are doing Choke Chain.
Oh my god, that was on my short list. I love that song.
Because I think the best way to start an album is by saying, I got this shit on lock.
That is like legitimately one of my favorite 303 songs because it's I was like trying to justify putting it in the album, but I was like, there's nothing happening here that means anything. It's just stupid. Actually, this is the song that every time I hear it, I picture being in my car because anytime this song comes on, I'm in the car, I purposely roll down the windows. I'm like, everyone in the vicinity is going to have to listen to Choke Chain.
They all need to experience this. Yes. It's just an ultimate banger. Okay. I showed Kalina when I was working, the way I first crafted my list was by mood. I said ultimate banger. And then for 2 or 3 was either backup banger or collab. I had to figure out which order I wanted it. And then 4 and 5 were getting kind of melancholy. 6, back to bangers. 7, finish it off with a good one. Which is like one step under banger, but I'll be honest, they're all kind of bangers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Second best line of the song is, I got a wolf on my white tee. He won't bite me.
You fucking with me and you'll get bitten most likely. Dude, this song is so good. And every time I listen, I'm like, what is the metaphor? There's no metaphor. He's saying, I got a choke chain on my pit bull mane. I got a shock collar from my Rottweiler. That's all. That's what he's singing about.
Ethically, we should point out, choke chains and shock collars, not good for dogs. Don't do that.
And how if you mess with him, he will stick his dogs on you. Not his dogs. His pit bull and his Rottweiler are getting stuck on you. Yeah. Also, he says, this thing I spit is mad frightening, which I just think is funny. No, I have no notes. That's like
best way to start an album.
I know what I'm getting into here.
All right. Number 2. This is my backup banger. Okay. All right. Going Punk Bitch.
Elanor, listen, this is initially what I was going to do, which is fucking Want as an album.
We move on from Want. Don't you worry.
We don't have to.
Don't you worry.
We could just, perfect 303 album.
We do come back to Want later. But embarrassingly, my track 2 is also track 2 on Want. That just means, I just realized, that just means like our wavelengths, they're like connected.
We're on, listen, 303, call us. We can, I don't know how we can help, but we can help.
Yeah. Punk Bitch is about when you come up in the club acting mad dumb.
And the ladies are looking
and
at
how they are just dating mad models and popping mad bottles. But then this song the outro of this song is one of like the best verses in a song ever. Like it takes you down. It's and this is another thing that I really like. They reference not only do they reference pop culture, they reference themselves a lot. So
Yeah.
like lines about boyfriends and beef that comes up a lot. This locket motif that I believe it started with this song, but I didn't look that up. I think it did. It comes up a little bit. So for a while, I was just gonna do all the songs where they reference themselves, but then I got swept away. But yeah, basically, it's just good. The best line is, "If I regret all I've done, I'd be trapped inside that locket," and it's heart wrenching a little bit. They go from if I gave you this locket, you put me in your locket, then I got big and famous, and I loved you, but if I would have stayed here, I would have hated my life and regretted everything. And then they come back in with dating mad models, popping mad bottles.
I think they're very good at like taking you on an emotional journey within a song. Like I was having a hard time with like coming back down because it was only 7 songs and I didn't feel like I could come back down at like 5. And then also kind of talking about motifs, I almost put "Don't Trust Me" with "Lonely Machines," which is that was more recent because in "Don't Trust Me" they say tell your boyfriend if he says he's got beef that I'm a vegetarian, I ain't fucking scared of him. And then in "Lonely Machines," which they do with 100 gex, they say
if he's still got beef, that over time it's gonna give you heart disease. Also, that's my next song.
I was debating that because but sorry, the last thing I was gonna say about Punk Bitch is I really like that. I like that you mentioned I would be trapped inside that locket. I like the line before he says, "What happened to the keys that used to jingle in your pocket? Your fingers say to come, but your eyes say I should stop it." I like that bit, and I think what really like made it for me or like made the decision for me with a bunch of the songs was the bridge or the outro. Kind of like I was like, okay, this like yeah, it's fun throughout, but like what do the bridge and the outro do? And that kind of cemented whether I took something off the list or put it on. Okay, "Lonely Machines" is a great song.
Okay, next. Oh my god, it's "Lonely Machines" featuring
That's
100
crazy.
gex.
I knew you were gonna pick that one.
Yeah, it's not a surprise. I like 100 gex. I like 303. Yeah, tell your boyfriend if he's still got beef that over time it's gonna give me heart disease. You call me dude and then ask me to peg you. Also, this one is very relevant to my life currently right now. It's on Laura's part where she says, "I don't know why you text me. I don't even look sexy. Plus, I'm fucking married. So leave me
Yes,
alone."
you are. When I first heard the song, I thought she said "plus I'm fucking queer," and I was like, I don't know why that's stopping him, but okay. I still agree. I support you.
Yeah, it's a good song. It's a little more electronic, sort of. I mean, if you heard a 100 gex song, you can imagine. Yeah, it's good, and I think it kind of transitions into a little bit of a lower key than the first 2 songs.
Yeah.
Like it's half high, half lower key, which gives it a good kind of slide down into my next songs.
I like this, and when I first heard it, I like listened to it a bunch, but I didn't like the 100 gex part as much. I really liked the obviously callback to "Tell Your Boyfriend," and I do like the little I open my phone, you're in my DMs. Why do you think it's cute to be creepy? You call me dude and ask me to peg you. I like the little bit. And I like the chorus just because it's fun to sing along to. But I think if I listen to it too closely, I don't listen to the whole song. Where he says, "So Godspeed, take a picture for me. Lonely machines, they won't touch you for free." But no, I'm impressed with how you were able to kind of bring it down without bringing it down. Because that's what I was having a hard time doing.
I just like this song a lot. All right, we're moving on to Streets of Gold. R.I.P.
Oh, I listened to this. This is good. This is a fun chanty kind of vibe.
So this song is about a breakup. The line is, R.I.P. you and me. We get a little bit of necklace talk. You can keep the necklace that I gave to you, and I'll keep the shitty tattoos. It's, I don't know, it's just good. It's a breakup song, but it's fun. There's a little bit of arson talk.
We love arson, and we don't love arson. We don't love arson. arson is bad and should not happen
But it's kind of hot.
as a narrative. However,
The bridge is beautiful, and it is emotional in a way that the makers of Punk Bitch, or not Punk Bitch, Punk Bitch is emotional. The makers of Don't Trust Me, I don't think you'd expect from them.
I mean, to be fair, if I didn't listen to Punk Bitch and just saw the name, I'd be like, what? They can't do anything. But this, I didn't pick this because to me, I like the R.I.P. I think I talked about, chanting in a crowd. That would be fun. But to me, that was like very simplistic, and I know they can write better. So that's why I kicked it off. But I think what they do very well, which you've touched on a lot, is, and I think they do it better than most people, and you're like, oh, it's a relatable song and it sounds happy, but it's about sad things. But they're never like, even the lyrics aren't sad, it's just the context is. But like the way they were approaching it is always still from they're like the definition of here for a good time, not a long time. Like they're always approaching it from like a good for the plot sort of vibe, so like, yeah, we broke up and it sucks,
absolutely.
but like I'm living my dream life, and like it sucks that we're not together, but like, well, also whatever. So I know, again, no notes. I love this. I would listen to both these albums.
Me too.
I'd pay money for them.
Listen to yours. I think it's really embarrassing that a lot of yours were on my my backup list.
Yours too. Up until, yeah, all of these were the short list the first time around.
All right, we're going to track 5 for me. Back to Want, but then we're done with Want. I picked this song because it is okay. We're back to bangers. We're back to Want, obviously, but it is still sad. And I always forget, kind of like Kalina was talking about. I always like forget it's sad until I actually listen because it's covered under layers of hype. But we are going with.
I feel like I know where this is going.
I'm trying to just unreveal a letter on my phone. It's making it hard. Okay, it's not letting me. I can't do it alone.
Yep. That was my emotional one for my first go. That's part of the reason it didn't make the cut, is because I was. They don't make songs that sound sad, but like, so like I was like, if I'm gonna go on an emotional journey, I want to like really bring you down, and it just didn't fit the vibe. But like this one, if I hear this and I'm not like in a good space, not great. The chorus, so good.
So good.
I'm sorry, I won't commandeer, please.
No. I mean, it is. Like I also, it's just not to be like the duality of man or whatever, but this song, like the pre-chorus ends with fucking smack it up if you act a bitch to me, stack it up if you fucking rich as me, my daddy owns a dealership, the rest is fucking history. And then the end of the chorus is tell me that this house is not a graveyard, tell me how to stay strong and carry you home over corpses of her long lost fathers and her unborn daughters, because god damn it, I can't do it alone. How is that existing in the same song, and like why does it work so well?
This like gives you, if you listen to the lyrics, you get like emotional whiplash because it's so good. I like the opening of the chorus. He says, "This ain't a love song. No, this ain't a broken heart homie singing only 'cause he's lonely. This ain't a love song. This ain't a whiskey drowned ballad. There ain't nothing here that's valid. So tell me, baby, pretty baby, that this house is not a graveyard." Oh, I have known this is my this is part of the reason I had to redo it, because I did it the first time and I was like, choke chain, punk bitch, I can't do it alone, rich man, those are all off of one.
Oh, rich man is so good.
And rich man goes well with this one in the theme of like, sorry, not this one, with punk bitch in the theme of like, I don't know, it's so good.
But the way I did this was that I went through the songs that I have like downloaded from them, Because a while ago I went through all of their albums to pull out the ones that I wanted on my driving playlist. So I went through the ones that I'd pulled out, just those, and then I kind of created a baseline sort of section, and then I went back and I listened to a couple albums that I hadn't listened to in a while, to get the whole thing. I didn't listen all the way through Omens, so I only have one Omens song on my thing.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had listened to it, it might have more. But anyway, so yeah, I also didn't re-review it. I listened to it all the way through for the first time, like when I woke up this morning, and I changed out one song, and then I was just like, because I think it was one of those things where if I had looked at it for too long, I would have like double, tripled, quadrupled guessed every decision I made.
Yeah. After I went through the second time and I had the order, I walked away and then I like went about my day. And when I came back last night, I listened through it just once in order just to make sure it flowed as I thought it would. And then that was it.
Hmm. You gotta can't think too much about this project.
No, because then also we would never get any projects done.
Yeah.
We already don't get any projects done.
Going back to 6, or I guess on to 6, Streets of Gold. See You Go.
Oh, that's an interesting choice. That did not make my short list. I think this is the first one you had that was not on my short list.
I like this song. I am realizing as I'm looking at the genius, um, is that one of the lines that I really liked, is actually not what I thought it was. Um, so what I thought it was is in the chorus they say, um, I don't want to be the guy to see you go. I don't want to leave if you don't take me home. But it's I don't want to be if you don't take me home. Um,
That's that's not what it says on Genius. Because on Google, I'm looking at the lyrics on Google. It says, "No, I don't want to be the guy to see you go, and I don't want to leave if you don't take me home." That's what it says on Google.
okay. You know what? Good. Perfect. We're going to trust that then. Because then I love this song and I stand by this song 100%. Um, this song, it's not, it's a lower key, but it's still a banger. Um, and I don't know, it's just, you're in a club and you see a pretty girl and you're like, I want you.
I think like lyrically, this is somehow this is the most emotional. So I like it. I like it being here at 6.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
Thank you.
yeah, I don't think I had this was like I think this is one of the ones I like swept out very quickly. Probably just vibe
Going in
wise.
for a deep cut.
Yeah, true. I listened when I listened through to like whatever I had initially. It was like vibe first, lyrics after, like lyrics on the
Mm-hmm.
second or third listen through. So that's good. You did really well with the like emotions.
Thank you.
I'm excited to see this last one here.
And then for the last one, I decided let's just end on the highest note possible. If you think about it for a little bit too long, it gets a little sad because, ethically, it's not particularly an action that you should support. There are definitely ways you can go about it that are healthy for everybody involved, but it doesn't really sound like this is the method that was taken. So, final song, track number 7, Don't Cheat on Your Girlfriend or else you might end up with 2 girlfriends. And then you'll have none because you're number 2 girl. Not about 1.
I have no notes. I have nothing to say, but that's the perfect song. I used to have 2 girlfriends. I quote that regularly. No one ever knows what I'm talking about.
I also, it has one of the verses is kind of all pop culture references. And I'm just gonna pull out a couple of my favorites. It Ain't Over Till the Fat Lady Sings and Adele ain't on this track. Haha, this is blasphemy. Get away with it like Casey Anthony.
I love that. Every time I hear that, I think of that song by Childish Gambino.
Yeah. I know exactly which one you're talking about because I always think about that too.
Bonfire?
Yeah.
Bonfire.
Bonfire. Yeah. Those are, how?
I used to have
Perfect
two
song.
girl
No notes,
friends.
okay?
Now I got none because my number 2 girl found out about one. 2 girlfriends. Now I got none. And he's got more like they've got more like less obvious pop culture references. They say hang a kid off a balcony, zombie killer. Also, one time has nothing to do with anything. One time we were in class and homeboy just out the blue was like, "Yeah, what everyone knows Michael Jackson for is for hanging his kid off of a balcony." No, they don't. They don't though.
I mean,
I'm sure that's up there.
I feel like that's it. Yeah, for me, it's definitely like Thriller, Baby.
Also, we've got a Lindsay Lohan reference.
Got a Lindsay Lohan reference.
I used to have to. That's such a good song.
It's such a good song.
I had to like fight to not put this song on mine.
I was really scared that this is how it was going to end. I was deciding between, or that we would both have 2 girlfriends, that like that would be the one. And then I wouldn't have had anything to say because we would have just sang the song in its entirety when you brought it up.
I think we had mentioned when we were like talking about the rules and stuff. We had both mentioned 2 girlfriends, and I was like, she's gonna go there.
Yeah, and but then I, you know what? Anyway, it was between 2 girlfriends, and Electroshock from Want. But
we figured we had enough want happening.
I figured there was enough Want in there.
I am going to go make playlists on YouTube and Spotify with these songs in order. So if anyone wants to listen to our perfectly crafted albums, Wish and the High and Mighty, you can. This was so much fun. I'm so glad we did this, and I will. If good. 303 is in my top artists for the end of my Spotify Wrapped, I don't want to talk about it. We know why.
Yeah. Well, also they probably just usually. Oh, speaking of Spotify Wrapped, I was out at a shindig a while ago, and somebody and I started talking about our Spotify Wraps and our Apple Music Wrapped because I don't believe in Spotify.
Apple Music girlfriend, and Spotify girlfriend.
Yes. I showed them mine, and Taylor Swift my top artist, and they were like shocked. And how do you not? I'm so annoying about it.
I don't think I would have guessed that looking at you before, but like now, yes. But like now you're in like you're like corporate girly era.
Yeah, that's true. I bought a blazer, and I actually really like how I look in the blazer.
Different story. I think if you look at College Elanor and College Kalina, you would think College Kalina has Eleanor's music taste and College Elanor has Kalina's music taste.
Yeah. I really like getting to use that I shaved my head as a joke now. Like, I think that's a really funny part of my lore that I like touching on.
Touching on mine while I'm touching on yours?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Speaking of touching on yours, Kalina, did I tell you...
That's a sentence.
Somebody at work asked if I was cheating on you.
No. Oh, was it when they went, you mentioned you have a wife?
Yeah.
Also, I was telling someone that story the other day. I love that we're each other's lore. Like, I don't have any other story. Yeah. There's 2 things people know about me. Kalina plays water polo. She has a wife.
Yeah. I call Kalina my wife because she is, and also it's just easier. And apparently I also talk about, because okay, the thing is, I just don't want it to sound like every single time I talk about somebody it's Kalina me. But unfortunately it is often Kalina, so I call Kalina I call Kalina my wife, I call Kalina one of my college friends or someone I know. I talk around a lot so that people think I have more than one friend.
Girl, you can do a radio show with.
Yeah. Also, I think it's really funny when I only refer to you as my co-host, and people refuse to ask me questions when we co-host because I think they're scared that I have a podcast.
That's worse than partner.
But anyway, so I've called Kalina somebody I met in Ireland. I've called Kalina my wife, and like I've referenced how I'm with somebody that I met in Ireland, which is like true because that's the easiest way to put it. And somebody was like, See, you talk about a wife, and then you also talk about somebody that you're seeing.
They're like,
What is that?
I don't want to be insensitive. But what are you doing with your life?
And like, they asked it so politely, and I just laughed. Oh man, yeah. So not only do I have a wife at work,
You're like, not sometimes
I'm
things can
cheating
be
on
two
her.
things. I have like people who, it's also embarrassing. Like I do the same thing where I'm like, my wife, my partner, my co-host, like just random like descriptives. But the problem is people, I also, like, Eleanor comes to visit, so people have met her, so like that doesn't work anymore. But I do have people who have met Eleanor but like may not remember her name, but they remember that I said my wife. So they're like, how's your and they're like, this is so weird to say this, and I'm like, my wife, she's great, she's fantastic. Would you like to hear about her?
Oh yeah, Kalina is at least a third of my work lore, like straight up.
One time I was showing someone photos on my phone, and it was really embarrassing because I make all the posts for our Instagram. So anytime Eleanor, every once in a while, I'm like, Eleanor, send me like selfies that you have so I can edit them. So I was like looking for a photo, but the problem was there was like a good like 5 or 6 rows in my camera roll that was just photos of Eleanor that I had zero explanation for. I was like, like, please, and they were like, who's that? I'm like, we don't have to talk about that. I don't mind calling you my wife, but that was just a lot for me to have to explain why I had 20 photos of you in a row. Anyway, we have been here for a lot. Actually, for the perfect amount of time. We're spot on for once.
Yeah, we are doing great today.
So, I will say I had a lot of fun doing this, and we will most definitely do it again. So if you have artists you'd like us to do this for, please let us know. I mean, I'll do a follow-up 303 album, honestly. It's going to be Want, but I'll do a follow-up 303 album. So yeah, if you have any artist suggestions, let us know. You can follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Don't Quote Us on That. And you can follow us on Twitter at Don't Quote Us 27. And we will be back here next week.
Yes, we will. And also, I would just like to issue my formal apology while I have you guys here. I'm gonna do at least one episode on Speak Now Taylor's version. And by at least one, I mean that's gonna be all the content you get for the rest of the year. So sorry.
Don't worry. We will do a Twilight episode and make up for it. Or make it worse.
I think that might make it worse.
We have to do it and see what happens.
That's true.
It's what the people have been waiting for.
See you next week.
Go listen to 303. Thanks for listening. Don't quote me on that. One day we'll have an outro, but it's not today.